Good evening, everyone. Welcome back once again to Vicious Rants. And of course, I'm your host, your YouTube Messiah, and often imitated, never duplicated superstar Tim Vicious. And we're gonna go over Raw was as per the norms since about March in the Performance Center. Now, before we do, a couple big things do need to highlight. One, last week, the passing of, hands down, the greatest ring announcer in the history of not just WWE, but in all of wrestling. And I dare anyone to question otherwise on this, but one Howard Finkel, the Fink, unfortunately, he passed away. And it's really sad to hear, you know, because he really was the voice of my childhood. You know, I can't think of one time when I didn't go nuts when I heard him yell and knew. Think we're all gonna miss you. Now, on to other news. Last Wednesday, WWE wound up announcing they did several major cuts across the board, and over roughly about 30 plus in-ring performers were all let go. The more notable names were Lio Rush, Drake Maverick, EC3, Rusev, Anderson, Gallows, Mike and Maria Kanellis. There's a lot of names on there. You know, I could go on, but I'm not going to spend all this time going over that. But yeah. It was sad to hear, but I'm not going to say one thing one way or another because, and I've been choosing to stay silent on this on a personal level because I'm not going to have my frustrations on the matter speak for me, whether good, bad, or indifferent. All I'm going to say is it sucks to hear, no different than if you were working in the powder coating industry. You know, the guys that spray the powder coating on the metal beams and shit. And no different than if you heard they were getting cuts across the board all over for that industry. Same thing with this. So, yeah. Kind of a shitty way to start the show. I apologize, but now we're going to try and switch gears and move into a bit more of a positive note with the SmackDown Rewind. Big highlights from last week. Otis once again still showing how he is the most luckiest son of a bitch on the planet. Just short from that modern day Billy Kidman, Aleister Black, by being with Mandy Rose. All I'm going to say is, if Otis can get with somebody like Mandy, then there is hope for a motherfucker like me out there to finally fucking score with somebody like that. So, now we just gotta play the waiting game. Yeah, other than that, big highlights. Dana Brooke and Daniel Bryan are both in their respective Money in the Bank matches, and it's been officially made. Braun Strowman is going to go against Bray Wyatt at Money in the Bank, not The Fiend. So if you recall from pay-per-views past, when Miz went against Bray Wyatt when he was Universal Champion, not The Fiend. So it's a good, interesting concept because it's like, trying to think a good way to put this. You're getting two different characters in the same person, almost in the same way on how you would get Finn Balor and then the Demon. You know, you got The Fiend and then you have Bray Wyatt. And it's just really cool to see that kind of a character reversal. So yeah. Other than that, big huge things that did happen was the New Day. Big E got the win in the Triple Threat Tag Title match. So now the New Day are now 8-time, and don't worry, we're not going to do 8 times, Tag Team Champions. And Big E probably showed the most disturbing victory by tonguing those things. Ugh, I hope somebody wound up sanitizing those afterwards. Anyways, now let's get on to the main show. Raw Performance Center. Let's start it. Drew McIntyre starts off talking about on how Seth Rollins beat the shit out of him at the end of last week's Raw, and then out as just as he's about to go and start throwing out some nice kind words to Seth, out comes his #1 thorn in the side, his words, not mine, Zelina Vega, and again, see Zelina Vega, all I can think is, Aleister Black, you modern day Billy Kidman overachieving son of a bitch! Seriously, he's like Billy fucking Kidman. Goddamn overachiever. Fucking, like Billy Kidman overachieved and wound up getting with Tori Wilson. Aleister Black, overachiever. Zelina Vega, yeah. So, Aleister Black is forever now going to be known as the modern day Billy Kidman overachiever. There we go, I got that off my chest, I'm good. Zelina Vega came out, started talking about on how, you know, Drew shouldn't be worrying about Seth when he has to deal with Angel Garza tonight, and, you know, not even sure if he's going to make it to Money in the Bank, and then out comes Andrade from right behind, hits a chop block, gets a few shots in, next thing you know, McIntyre, then boom, Claymore. So yeah. And then it lines up ending in that sense. So now we get to the first match of the night. Austin Theory against the modern day Billy Kidman, Aleister Black. With Zelina Vega on commentary, which, not gonna lie, was rather interesting because, one, seeing her having to play heel against her hubby, one, and two, just the one line she wound up saying on the commentary just absolutely made me lose it. I was like dead silent for like a good 15 minutes after that when she was saying, you know, and last week I was on top. I was on top of the table. Who doesn't like a woman on top? Just like, whoa. Okay. Well, now I know on how their marriage goes. Whew. Yeah, now as far as the match, it was a good, solid fucking match. I dug the shit out of it between Theory and Black, you know, and I know a lot of people have been shitting on the idea on well, Theory's just losing and losing and losing and losing. Here's the thing, though. One, he's still super young in the business. He's about 22, 24, I think. So he's got eons ahead of him to score wins and become more noticed. Two, the guy's already a fucking big name. He was a good name in Evolve. He wound up obviously working his ass off in Evolve to the point to where Hunter wound up saying to Gabe, hey, let me buy him off you. You know, so, yeah. You know, not only that, if Theory is going to be in the stable with him, Garza, Andrade, you got to have one guy in the stable be the cannon fodder, the one that takes the ass whoopings. Case in point, NWO, they had Pac. They had X-Pac. You know, Six, whatever the fuck you wanted to call him at that point in time. You know, with Seth and his cronies, when it was Seth, AOP, and Murphy. Murphy was the one that was always on the ass end of the ass whoopings. It fucking happens. Sometimes you gotta have one guy in there who's a fucking bumping machine who can take an ass whooping and make it and be the one to take the ass whooping for the team. Not just, you know, so yeah. He's gonna fucking get a chance to grow and shine. Just time and patience. That's the big thing that's required more than anything. Really good match. I dug the shit out of it. It was a hell of a good match to start the show with. Came to an end with Black Mass, and just boom, popped that on him, and Zelina's face up, oh, you know, just sold it. And then 1, 2, 3. So Aleister Black is now officially in the Money in the Bank match. Next up, we got Shayna Baszler going against an NXT girl, Indi Hartwell. And yeah, this went about as well as last week's with Sarah Logan, which unfortunately Sarah Logan was also on the chopping block for the released talent. Yeah, that sucked. But Shayna beat the shit out of Indi, did the shoulder stomp, and then threw her into the stairs. All the while, the ref is in the ring yelling at her to stop, and I'm just sitting there thinking, you know, I remember when I was a kid, the refs would actually get in between the action. I miss that. I miss seeing that kind of shit. I'm not saying I wanted to see Shayna get physical on the refs, but I want to see the refs actually jump in between to stop them from fucking making them say, no, no, you're not going to fucking hit this kid. No. Yeah, So next up we got tag action. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander going up against Shane Thorne and Brandon Vicks again. Decent match. It went a little quicker than I would have personally liked. I think it could have gone another maybe 10 minutes or so. But it was just really a lot of fast moving stuff. Fast moving match, you know. I'm not even gonna lie, I tried to pay attention to the match, but I couldn't, because it was just, there was a lack of story in it. And if you don't have the story for the match, 9 out of 10 times, I'm gonna be like, mine's going in a completely different place. I'll sit there and watch, but my brain's going somewhere else. Next up, but yeah, Ricochet and Cedric got the win, doing a lumbar check, and then, or doing the recoil, then the lumbar check onto Shane Thorne. And also, I gotta give credit to Shane Thorne with the dye job, going blondie. You know, if you pull back and look at him from a distance with it, my first thought was, holy shit, fucking looked like a Chris Candido lookalike with tattoos. Just body-wise, looking at him, was like, holy shit. Now, next matchup, it was rematch from last week, Kairi Sane versus Nia Jax. Kairi looking to get revenge from last week with Nia Jax decimating her, destroying her, and then preventing her from having a chance at Money in the Bank. And yeah, Nia pretty much murdered Kairi. I mean, she built a half-decent comeback at one point, starting to chop down on the knee, working on her, but doing a spinning backhand strike. Next thing you know, that was just like, alright, wham, wake up, bitch. Next thing you know, Nia woke up, beat the shit out of her, hit her with a Samoan drop, 1, 2, 3, that was it. Next up, we got next Money in the Bank qualifying match, MVP going against Apollo Crews. Nice good back and forth, you know, before the break. And I know a lot of people said, well, you know, Raw's really easily predictable, but if you've been watching wrestling for a very long time, like in my case, I can't remember a point in my life I haven't watched it. It's really, you can pretty much space out and time out the show as it's going just based on the action you're seeing, like on how you're watching it. I don't know, maybe it's just because the way my brain's wired, and like I said, I'm like a fucking Rain Man when it comes to wrestling. I'm like wrestling Rain Man, but it's just, I can see on how the show is going to be paced out. Or not the show, but the match is going to be paced out based on it. But it was good right into the break. MVP, he was leading after the break. For the most part, he was pretty much tearing it up during it. Cruz wound up getting some good moves in. Match came to an end though with Cruz getting a comeback hit and getting a finish with the delayed sit-down powerbomb, getting a 1, 2, 3. That was it. And hopefully this leads to Apollo Crews getting a further extended push. Possibly, personally, I think I'd like to see him going up against Andrade at some point, chasing after the US title. Next matchup, we got women's action. Liv Morgan. Whew! Good God almighty. Need my heart pills. Need the damn heart pills now. Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. Whew. 2 reasons why I need the heart pills right there. Ruby, she was pretty much leading this match for like 99.98% of it. Liv wound up taking a couple shots in here and there, and Liv Morgan pretty much got the win in the end with that springboard flatliner she did. And yeah. Next up we got Rey Mysterio going against Murphy. Murphy was leading for the most part in the match, but the one thing, I gotta tell you, maybe it's just from my personal experience, but the one thing that was a huge thing I did not like. At one point Rey Mysterio was talking about, my finger. You could hear him saying it, you know, and then the commentators, Facefuck Phillips and Saxon going on how Rey Mysterio dislocated a finger, he dislocated his finger and all. I've had dislocated fingers from personal experience. Now, Rey, he was wearing gloves. If he really did have a dislocated finger and he was trying to pop it back into place, motherfucker, first thing you need to do is to get that damn glove off, bite your lip, and then just pop, and then just clink, pop it back in. It hurts like hell, but you fucking do it. I mean, hell, you want to see somebody literally pop a bone back into place, go back to SummerSlam, look at Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor, right after Seth powerbombed Finn into the barricade, you could see Finn clink, pop his shoulder right back in. So, yeah. Point being, though, that took away from it for me. Hearing them doing that. But just, God. Either way, though, it was a good match. I liked on how Murphy had a chance to shine. How Murphy had a chance to shine and show what he can do. Because the motherfucker is a pure talent. He is talent, plain and simple. Much like what I said earlier about being somebody in the team that needs to take the ass whooping, much like Austin Theory, Buddy Murphy, same thing. He was the guy that would take the ass whoopings for Seth's cronies. Now, match eventually came to an end with Mysterio. He did a Destroyer, then a 619, and then a Frog Splash. Yeah, it kind of looked a little, we'll say a little choppy, but given the fact that they were playing that Rey had a cruddy hand at the point in time, we'll say, because of a dislocated finger, you know, it kind of added to, you know, it kind of gave a reason. So I'm good with it. Not like I'm saying, oh yeah, I'll let it slide, because fuck, I ain't got no say on if I can let it slide or not, but it was decent. It added to it. So now we come to, we got Charlotte going against Kayden Carter, so we got 2 NXT girls competing on Raw. So Charlotte, she got the win really quick. It was one-sided. She got the figure 8. Next thing you know, we got Andrade going against Akira Tozawa. Tozawa, he was leading early on, but Andrade got the win with draped hammerlock DDT. Tozawa was draped on the top rope, hooked him for the hammerlock, and then boom, popped it on him. And then we get Bianca Belair versus Santana Garrett. And I'm not gonna lie, man. It was like after the Rey Mysterio match, from the Rey Mysterio match until the main event, it was just like squash match, squash match, squash match, and I was just like, the fuck is this shit? Fuck. Don't give me super fast squash matches to just fill TV time. If you want to fill some TV time, why not throw in 1, maybe 2 matches and let the talent get a chance to work? Just me thinking, but I don't know. I don't have say in the show. I don't know on how they had the show paced and planned out, so that's just my personal thinking. But either way, Andrade, Tozawa, and after that it was Bianca Belair going against Santana Garrett, which honestly I can never think of a bad reason to ever see Santana Garrett on TV, but that's me. And yeah, Bianca Belair, she got the win on her. So now we come to main event of the night. Angel Garza, Drew McIntyre. Early on, it was like a 3-on-1 mobbing where it was Garza, he was working in the ring, Theory and Andrade and Zelina outside, kind of trolling, messing with him like, ooh, yeah, oh, hey, ref, I'm not doing nothing. You know, that kind of shit until eventually McIntyre was just like, you know what, fuck this shit. Wham! Started beating the shit out of all of them. And then looking at Zelina after he jumped over the top rope, took them all out, and said, oh yeah, I could do it all. And then after that, pretty much, McIntyre, he got the win relatively easy with the Claymore, 1, 2, 3, that was it. All in all, not necessarily one of the better Raws on a 1 to 10. If I was going to score it on a 1 to 10, 4.5 to a 5 maybe. I mean, just it didn't have the wow factor, you know, and that's not to say that they didn't try, because, you know, Lord knows any promotion that's running right now with empty arena shows, they're all fucking trying. So yeah, but that is it for this week's show, folks. So, like on normal, don't forget to watch the video, subscribe to the channel, go back, watch some of the other episodes. Look for me on the Twitter at TimVicious. Also, out there on that Facebook gimmick, Tim Ash, you can look for me on that Facebook gimmick. Let me know you found me on there from here on the Twitter, TimVicious. Something like Creed John Dome. Thank you to contributor to the show, LFC Lingerie Fighting Championship. There are a little bit of wrestling, a little bit of MMA, and a whole lot of attractive women wearing a little bit of nothing. While we're all in self-quarantine, that's probably one of the better things to watch in between Pornhub. Also, thank you to contributor of the show, Ali Rewan Ben, who did provide the music for this week's show. It's out there on iTunes, Spotify, and such, even here on the YouTube bit. Make sure you check out his music. Details are down below. Also, folks, don't forget to follow these cool-ass cats right here on the Twitter. Melon, Kenny Keller, DSB_IV, Diabolica RA, and Sergeant Curry Pants. And folks, like I always tell you, you love me great, you hate me. Fuck you.